Hi friends, it's me Nance. Can you believe that fall's here already? Just wanted to say a quick hello and check in with you, see how your summer was. My summer was great. I did a lot of interesting things this summer and learned a lot along the way. I want to share a couple of things with you first. First thing I wanted to share with you is just the other day, I cleaned out my vermicomposter. I have a composter with worms in it, so I was cleaning it out. So I cleaned it out and I saved some right here so I could show you. And I noticed when I cleaned it out, there are these little tiny white flies in there. Actually, let me see, I couldn't really see what they were. So I took a piece of black paper and I scooped up some compost. I shook off some of the big pieces and I could see, and I don't know if you can see it, I could see these little tiny white things crawling around. I'm not sure that it's showing up so great with my camera here. So what I did was I tried to get a good look at them. I put them on this black paper so it would have a good backdrop, and I used this. When you use a magnifying glass, you're always supposed to put it up to your eye and then go down to your subject. I didn't know what they were. I'd never seen them before. So you know what I did? I looked at my book. This is one of my favorite books about vermicomposting. It's called Worms Eat My Garbage. So I looked in here to find out things that might be living in my vermicompost bin. And when I did find it, at first, because I read about all of the different things, at first I thought they were white worms. But when I looked at them really close, they weren't moving like worms. In fact, they were kind of jumping around. I couldn't find anything in this book that described what I was seeing in my vermicompost. So you know what I did? I Googled it. And the internet's a great way to find answers to questions. It's so fast and so quick and so easy. The most important thing to remember, though, is that you have to make sure you're getting your information from a site that's reliable. Usually those sites that end with edu are good sites to look up. But anyway, so that's what I did because I couldn't find it in my book. And guess what? I found out that these are called white flies. And white flies are just another insect that are attracted by all of the fruits and vegetables in my vermicompost bin. I do have a whole lot though, and that concerned me a little bit. So when I read further, they suggested that I add some more carbon to my bin. And typically, I add paper to my bin or cardboard. Since it's fall, I'm going to try to add some leaves. I think that might help solve my problem. I also read that those little white flies, they won't survive in the winter. Not that I keep my vermicompost out in the winter. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you. What I was doing with my vermicompost is I was using it to enrich the soil for some of my plants. I grew lots of plants from seeds this year. This is one of the ones I was most proud of. It doesn't look so great right now. I just transplanted it recently. This is a tomato plant. And actually I started it from seed and I had in a big pot right over there in my garden. I took a little snippet of the plant because I'm going to try to keep it over the winter. That's one of my winter projects. What happened was it started getting a little bit too tall, a little bit too fast. I didn't want that to happen. So what I did was I trimmed it back just a little bit. It's not really very happy right now. It's got fresh soil, and I gave it some of this vermicompost because I think that will help to enrich the soil and it will help it grow. So I'm really excited about that. Something else I did this summer I did a lot of propagating. Propagating is when you start one plant from another, just like I told you with my tomato plants. I did that with coleus. I did this a whole lot with coleus all summer long. I had a project where I was taking care of some plants and I was able to keep on clipping back the coleus and creating more and more plants. Coleus is very interesting. If you want to see how this one right here, this is really tall and gangly. Really, you want it to be much fuller. This one in front is doing really well. The problem with this one right here, you can see it's starting to develop its flowers. Flowers are nice if you want to get the seeds, but if I want this plant to get bigger and stronger, what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to clip back that bud, and the plant will grow more leaves and get stronger before it gets to flower. If it goes to flower right now, a lot of the energy for the plant will go to be making the flower, not making more leaves. So really you have to decide what's the most important. This part of the plant, this is a separate plant over here. This one really needs to be transplanted again. You can see that there's no leaves here. What I need to do is I need to get another pot and separate these two plants. And when I do, I'll bury this one right up to about here. All of these little nodes right here will start developing roots once I put them under the ground. So that's another project that I'm going to be continuing on. Something else that was new for me this year was growing another plant, an edible plant, and I've never really gone and grown an edible plant before. But this plant is called nasturtium, and in the summer it had beautiful orange flowers on it that you could eat. But you can also eat the leaves. The leaves have a peppery taste to them. You can eat them straight off the plant, or you can put them in a salad. Some people like to do that. This plant, as you can see, needs a little bit of TLC itself as well. I should really trim back some of this dead. And that's what you should be doing all summer long. You should keep trimming your plants back so they don't get gangly like that. That's not good for anything for the plant. It needs good fresh leaves to grow. And some of the plant parts that are dead are just sucking nutrients away from the healthy parts. So you really want to make sure you're trimming back your plants as you go along. Okay, I'm looking around. I think that's everything I had to show you. Oh, one last thing before we go is I wanted to show you these. Hopefully you have gotten your plants that I sent you and you've got your fall greens started as well. Here are some of my fall greens. So far they're doing great. I used some of my worm vermicompost on these as well. So, and what that does, it just adds nutrients to the soil and helps them grow. So I hope your garden is growing as well. My garden is doing great. And I hope everything's going good for you in your garden. If you have any questions at any time, you can always email me your questions. For now, that's it. I'll talk to you next time. Remember, always give plants a chance. I'll see you later.